Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure?
It's cultist coffee.
What makes it cultist coffee?
I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it.
Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good to see you. Happy Sunday. I hope it's been a good day for you. Yesterday, I was completely chilling out. I mean, I did things. I was working on stories and things like that. Got my walk in. And then last night, man, I crashed and I slept like a rock for a long time. So that's what happened to me. But definitely I needed it. So glad to see everybody here. Theo, welcome. Good to see you. So glad you're here. On Sundays, I had thought that kind of our topics for the morning could be kind of a potpourri of different things that we want to cover but might not take up an entire hour worth of time. And so I have got a few different things that we can talk about today, including looking up the HeroQuest app. I believe I just figured out how to actually display my iPad screen on the StreamYard screen here. So we should be able to bring up the HeroQuest screen. So I believe I've figured that out. So we will see here. Let me look at that. I want to look at a topic in D&D or 1D&D. I found an article that was kind of interesting that I was talking with a friend about the other day. And so I thought, hey, we should probably talk about that here and we can share that here. And then I also have Inner Light's material that was sent to me. So we've got that in PDF, so we can take a look at what Inner Light has been doing as well. So that's kind of what I think we can do today. We didn't have the wind down last night, and I do think that there are other things I want to do in the evenings as well. And so I'm kind of thinking that all the time we don't have to do the wind down, because I would like to be able to do some of the video game playing, look at different video games to play. I'm kind of thinking that should be a Tuesday thing, but there was something else going on last Tuesday. And then on Sundays, I was thinking this should be the miniature painting time. Now, I haven't been able to coordinate a group of people to like be on a stream for discussion and stuff. So, but I'm still kind of thinking that tonight I should go ahead and get that started, because I've got miniatures I want to paint as far as the, especially as far as HeroQuest and the cultists go, and to try out all of these speed paints. I found my, well, it's in someplace. It's over here. I found this that I've really got to try out, and have been wanting to try out for a while. I got the Speed Paints Mega Set right here from Army Painter, but I haven't been able to try it out yet, and it's still shrink wrapped. So, I've tried out the contrast paints, but not these. So, on the other hand, are there people who want to paint tonight? And maybe if people want to be on the stream, we could just do that and have conversations on the stream, because I've got to paint miniatures. And so it's a little bit close to Christmas, especially after this week, to try to start organizing an entire group. But there may be people in part of our community who would like to come on and just have a discussion while we paint for an hour and a half. Hello, Stray. Hello. And I think I would do that earlier. In the day, not try to do it at 7:30 at night. Maybe like 5 or something like that Central Time. So that's what I'm thinking. And then then that would mean that every night, that if we're like doing painting, or we are doing the video games, or if it's Friday night and we're doing the game, there just wouldn't be a wind down. And then maybe there isn't one on Saturdays anyway. So that gets us doing a greater variety of things. And I think that still works. We'll see. So still playing around with the format here. Let's see. I said yesterday I was supposed to update the morning messages, and I didn't get to it yet. I was just chilling. I did work on stories, like I said. So I was doing other things, but I didn't get to actually record the morning messages. So we'll skip that again today, and then we will head into that, hopefully with our sponsor tomorrow. All right. So let's get right into it then. I'm going to bring this article up that a friend shared with me. You may have already seen it, because we were talking about, I wasn't aware of all the controversy regarding DnD or 1 DnD as I was going over 1 DnD. I was primarily thinking about what kind of rules and stuff were going on. But my friend, it was Lou. I was talking to Lou, and of course he's been working on his Thrones and Bones campaign setting. And by the way, that's another thing I've got to work on as far as planning out some of these different sessions, because it's about time for me to start getting ready to write again. And I need to write RPG stuff. I was told there are a few more things I need to do as far as my index cards, as far as my stories. But I do want to be sure that the morning grinds are focused on going in the direction we want them to go in as far as creating things as well. And of course, Lou has been talking about, Lou has been deep into creating his RPG campaign setting. And he's just like blown past me as far as all that goes. That's why I got to get back to writing. But he was trying to decide what he was going to do as far as releasing material for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, because of some of the uncertainty regarding what's going on with D&D 1. And so he was talking to me about that from the side of a creator's side. And he was even saying that there was some uncertainty right now about whether or not third-party creators would be allowed to create 1 D&D content independently, or if it all would have to go through D&D Beyond, which would be another limitation if they go something like that. And I can see a lot of people not liking that either. And he was saying that he was planning on doing a major mega adventures of like levels 1 through 10, but that he was like, now I'm hesitant to try to produce that because of the uncertainty about exactly what could happen there. Oh, I just lost my mouse connectivity. We'll see if I can get it back. So that's something else to think about. as far as the relationship, if they're changing up the relationship between Dungeons and Dragons and third-party content. Now, I suppose that means that they couldn't change up like anything that had come before. You would still be publishing things like for 5th edition, and they're supposedly compatible, but it wouldn't be one D&D. And there is a lot to be said about people who are saying, well, I don't want to be releasing something that is for 5th edition when one D&D is coming out. That's going to be perceived as the new thing. There'll be a lot of people who like it. Of course, there'll be some people who don't want to change, whatever, but you'd still be bringing out something that is not something that is fresh and new. And so that might potentially be a problem for as far as your marketing goes and things like that. So I know that it's affecting him and trying to think about what he's trying to do. Where's my secondary mouse? I have the secondary mouse for situations just like this, but I don't see it at the moment. I need my mouse. One of the major design flaws with Apple is that, okay, if this dies, you can't both charge and use it at the same time. And I don't understand that. And I always keep a secondary mouse over here. Well, let me plug that one in for a moment. Hold on, maybe I'll get another one. Let's see if this one works. Battery might be dead on it. Nope. Okay, it works. All right. Secondary mouse engaged. Okay, so let's take a look at this because I thought this was interesting that it got past me after I had that conversation with him. And I just thought, well, maybe this does provide some kind of insight on what's going on with Dungeons and Dragons 1, which I can understand from a business perspective. If somebody's thinking like this from a business perspective, I can certainly understand it. Now, what that translates into as far as the community goes, that's kind of different. But he says, Hasbro executives believe that Dungeons & Dragons brand is heavily under-monetized, with moves being made to expand the game beyond the tabletop role-playing game bookshelf. Earlier this week, Hasbro CEO Chris Cox and Wizards of the Coast president Cynthia Williams spoke to investors at a USB fireside chat. While the bulk of the conversation involved the status of Magic the Gathering, Hasbro's most popular brand and the subject of recent scrutiny, thanks to Bank of America's white paper that sent Hasbro stocks tumbling. Williams and Cox spoke about the value of Dungeons and Dragons and their belief in the game, and the accompanying brand was a part of Hasbro's future. D&D has never been more popular, and it has great fans and great engagement, Williams told investors, but the brand is really under-monetized. William points to marketing data from the recently acquired D&D Beyond that shows Dungeon Masters made the vast majority of purchases related to Dungeons & Dragons, despite making up only 20% of the game's user base. So I can definitely see that's something that somebody would be thinking about. That, well, now how many people have played Dungeons & Dragons and yet have never given any money to either TSR, Wizards of the Coast, or Hasbro? Well, probably a lot. I mean, probably a lot. Some people, I mean, I know a lot of people, especially when we first started playing, who they had their set of dice, but they didn't even buy a player's handbook. We just shared players' handbooks and things like that. So that's why I'm saying definitely from the business perspective, from somebody who was sitting there in the C-suite, and then you find out this kind of information that only 20% of our user base is actually providing the majority. Now, that's what exactly that is, but it could be like 80%, if you're applying the 80-20 rule. And so I can see somebody going, now, wait a minute, how do we get more money out of people playing Dungeons and Dragons who are the actual players? Williams also noted that D&D Beyond would be a critical part of Dungeons and Dragons' future, with the digital toolset powering the next iteration of Dungeons and Dragons. Williams also spoke about D&D Beyond being utilized to unlock recurrent purchases similar to add-ons in digital games. We'll note that D&D Beyond has long sold aesthetics and digital accessories, such as digital dice and avatars, and an upcoming Dungeons & Dragons virtual tabletop is expected to bring more ways to sell digital add-ons. Cox added that Dungeons & Dragons has a high brand awareness on par with that of the franchises like Lord of the Rings. However, the brand itself is currently limited primarily to the tabletop gaming realm. Cox spoke about the upcoming plans to expand the franchise with the Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie and the AAA Baldur's Gate 3 game that is the first steps toward growing the brand. So I think there's potentially a lot of things to talk about there. Stray says, I've had the mouse die on me mid-game and mid-D&D session. Yeah, that's the down. I love that mouse. I love that Apple mouse. I love it. Except for the fact that you can't just attach it to your computer and use it on a wire when it dies. So you got to have secondary mice sitting around. Ridiculous. So, I've used D&D Beyond in the past, but also I've played a lot of games where there's no technology allowed at the table. And I can completely understand playing like that. And I would even play like that again. So tying Dungeons & Dragons to the virtual tabletop, if that's the direction this is going, and people were talking about that on the other stream, I can see why that would be something that a significant, I don't know whether it's the majority, but let's say a significant chunk of the user base would not want to do. I mean, I'm not really interested in paying for a whole bunch of digital add-ons to play Dungeons & Dragons. I mean, that's not something I'd be interested in doing. See, none of this is exactly a surprise to those who follow Hasbro's business closely. Hasbro recently made the conscious choice to scale back the number of brands it focuses on, with Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering joining other major franchises like Transformers and Peppa Pig. Hasbro has pushed its brand Blueprint 2.0 business model, which involves growing franchises through a mix of entertainment and product, which become a profitable Ouroboros for the company, who as shows and movies turn into sellable toys and licenses, which in turn spurs additional shows and movies into production. However, comments about D&D Beyond and Hasbro actively seeking to spur more sales from non-D&D D&D players could point to several additional and worrisome possibilities. The most likely solution is for Hasbro to get more Dungeons & Dragons players to buy into the brand more, purchasing more t-shirts and collectibles to show off their love of the game. But they could also use D&D Beyond as a way to sell digital exclusives for the tabletop role-playing game specifically aimed at players more invested. One needs only look at the plethora of D&D guild supplements and a new player-facing rule set such as character classes or new species as proof there's definitely more room for playable rules options that aren't tied to a specific rulebook. Even Wizards has released one-off player supplements, which are all very conveniently available for sale in D&D Beyond. They've also released several free Monstrous Companions supplements, which could be testing the water for future digital supplements of that kind. Obviously, Dungeons & Dragons will be a lot more present in 2023, especially after the release of Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie in March. Oh, it's Paulie from the Latino Slant. Welcome. Good to see you here. Good to see you. So glad you're stopping by. Good to see you. Hope everything's been going well. Paulie runs a fantastic YouTube channel as well. You should check out the Latino Slant. He's also always commenting on things in movies and TV, especially in the in what I would call the Geekverse. All of our stuff. So, I think that this could. So now that I understand a bit more, this could be moving in a direction that I would not want Dungeons and Dragons to move into. I kind of thought that I did a video a while back ago about why I thought there should not be a Dungeons and Dragons movie, why I thought that was a bad idea, because my basic argument went, don't do a Dungeons and Dragons movie. Instead, do something like a Forgotten Realms movie. That the brand that you try to build as far as your franchise goes shouldn't be Dungeons and Dragons, because it's so tied to a game. And there seem like there are so many ways that could be done badly, especially if you're going to do a movie where all of a sudden people get sucked into the game. Like that would be a terrible way to do a Dungeons and Dragons movie. They're playing at the table and then all of a sudden they're sucked into the game and then they got to solve some type of problem and get out of the game. And it would be so cliche and it would be so terrible. So my argument was, instead of trying to develop Dungeons and Dragons as this TV franchise or whatever, you do something like develop Forgotten Realms, because there are all these stories, all those books the game world, the universe is the Forgotten Realms. I mean, you could do the same thing with Dragonlance. You could do the same thing with, with Greyhawk if you wanted to. That one's not quite as well known, but you've got all of these different worlds inside Dungeons and Dragons that are played with the Dungeons and Dragons rule set. Don't focus on Dungeons and Dragons. Focus on one of the worlds that can be developed that Dungeons and Dragons is used to play in. Now, I'm sure that from the executive position, Forgotten Realms doesn't have the name recognition that Dungeons and Dragons has. I mean, it has a lot. There were a lot of books that are put out, the Drit series of books. There were a lot of Dragonlance books. So I think there would be a way to kind of argue against that and argue back, especially if building the Forgotten Realms, for instance, brand around a certain world makes more sense than saying Dungeons and Dragons, which has historically, when we've tried to do Dungeons and Dragons movies, we've gotten some weird, basically generic fantasy type stuff, which I don't think works as well. If you went hardcore like Peter Jackson's trilogy, Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings with Forgotten Realms, for instance, I think that would be a better way to go. I didn't actually know there was going to be a Dungeons and Dragons movie when I had made that video. And then somebody said, actually, that is coming out, and it was kind of still in development. And then that trailer dropped. And I was like, oh, look, they found a different way. I thought, well, what do people think about that trailer? What do people think about the Dungeons and Dragons trailer? I'd be interested to know what you think. I thought that, oh, okay, well, at least they didn't do the people are playing at a table and get sucked into the game. At least they didn't do that. But I thought they kind of came up with a new way to mess it up. Like, it wasn't something that when I watched it, I was like, oh, man, I have got to go and see that. It kind of looked campy to me. Somebody, and it may have even been Inner Light, was saying that I think what they're trying to do is make Dungeons and Dragons into a new Marvel movie. So instead of doing like a hardcore fantasy movie, that they went, okay, well, what's been working? Something like Marvel. And somebody said, hey, can we do Dungeons and Dragons as Marvel? And I went, oh, thinking about it with that in mind, maybe so. Maybe that is what they were thinking, that, hey, we were trying to do Dungeons and Dragons as Marvel, and we're trying to make Dungeons and Dragons into a Marvel franchise, which is also not a direction that I necessarily want to go. Maybe for other people. And who knows, that could be massively successful. I mean, it could always reach its correct audience, right? If it reaches its correct audience, the people who are more interested in Marvel-esque action romp in a fantasy environment, I mean, that could connect with people and it could do exactly what they want to do. But it's not going to serve the people who are interested in the harder core kind of fantasy stuff. Thank you. Thank you, Paulie. Thank you. So I remain skeptical of that. I remain skeptical of the movie. We'll see how it is. Maybe it's fantastic, but I kind of remain skeptical of it. It was like, it didn't look like that great to me. But this clearly seems to be tied into all of their current new marketing and what they are doing here. And I know that it's impacting people like Lou, who, and also probably Infinite Black as well, who are trying to bring out 5th edition material. Now, Brian has moved on to Mork Borg, so he's developing for Mork Borg and doing Vast Grim, another friend of mine, Brian. So that might be a good idea as well. So he already had the idea to move to a different system. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting. I'm skeptical, but now I kind of understand the thinking behind what's going on with one D&D a bit more. And I'm thinking about I'll look into it more. So there are things to think about beyond just the rule system. Okay, now let's see if I can bring up the HeroQuest app, because if I want to experiment with doing, Paulie says, not excited about the film, hopefully proven wrong. Yeah, I mean, I hope that was exactly mine. I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope it's great. I mean, I would love it. Fantasy movies and that genre in general. I mean, even though it feels like we're just flooded with them, we don't actually get that many. And I always like it when things grow the pie, right? I wanted them to be able to grow the fan base. I wanted to be able to make fantasy more popular. Unfortunately, I think we've hit some things that have definitely decreased the popularity and have not hit. But, and I was talking to Brianna about that, because Brianna is not was not as connected to the Lord of the Rings and Middle Earth as I am. She was like, well, I'm not really a fan of it, so I don't know, maybe if it doesn't go well, it's not really going to affect me. Except for, I was like, when these major fantasy franchises come out, we should all want them to do well, because that brings in more people to the genre. It grows the genre, it grows the pie, more is done. So even if it's not particularly your thing, your franchise that you're connected to, I still want them to be done really well and grow. And who knows, maybe it's done so well, you do end up connecting with it and enjoy something new. But yeah, I really hope that it is fantastic and does well, but I'm skeptical. We will see. So let me see if I can bring up the HeroQuest app. This is a new, I think I figured it out right before the stream went live, that if I come over here, look at that. I can put up the iPad screen. So I want to see about this HeroQuest app, because especially if we're going to be doing some HeroQuest gaming and doing it solo, I was thinking, how do I do this solo? I was like, oh yeah, the app should allow me to play solo. Or the app would allow me to play as well if we were to get Megan and Rachel and Sky and Dax back together digitally, or even if one of them can't come, then I could actually take on a hero if the app would be able to run us through HeroQuest. This is technology taking people's job. If you have been Zargon in the past, then your job, and like I would have been, the app may be taking your job. Has anybody used this app? I have not. So you're kind of looking at it for the first time with me. This is one of these first time through here. So this app requires the HeroQuest game system board sold separately. I can say learn more or okay. I think I'm just going to say okay because I know that. We've got that. So this companion app assumes the role of Zargon, allowing multiple players or a single player to assume the role of all 4 heroes. We got a menu up here. Exit tutorial, music volume, effects volume, music voice volume. I don't know if we're going to be able to hear anything on this or not. Tablet landscape, track hero turns. Oh, so that's on. Track hero turns. Show damage on monster tokens. Enable Yeti hug breaks. What is that? I'll tell you what, let's turn that on just because that sounds so crazy. Intangible furniture. That is apparently a controversial part of HeroQuest, that can you move through furniture? We always played that you could not. And so I think that option has come here, that you cannot move over furniture. That was what we always played. But apparently that is controversial, and I had never noticed that apparently in a certain part of the rule book where it lists things that you can't move over, it doesn't explicitly say the furniture. So in other places it kind of does, but in other places it doesn't. So if you want people to be able to move over the furniture, then you can click that right there. Tell you what, let's hit tutorial and see what's going on here. Oh, is this a tutorial about how to play the entire game? Or is this just about the app? I thought it was just going to be about the app. But let's go selecting a hero. Oh, I guess it is about the hero. So create your party. Tap the tokens to view and select card. Tap to remove a hero. Okay. View alternate card designs. Flip card. Tap when done creating a party. So you've got to tell it what heroes are coming into the adventure. All right. Exit. Creating a party. Tap tokens to view and select card. Okay, so you're filling in the slots, I guess, above when trying to create the party. Tap to autofill Barbarian, Dwarf, Elf, and Wizard by the default party. Okay. Tap when done. Selecting a quest. Active quest, so at least you can pause. So that's interesting too. As it says this one to continue. Leaving it set up. remaining quests. So we've got completed quests, remaining quests, and then also quests that we can continue with. Tap to toggle whether or not it's complete or not. Completed quests. Oh, okay, so we've done that. Map overview. Save quest and exit. Adjust game settings. View quest log. Pinch to zoom in and out of map. Save and exit quest. Okay, so I wish it would tell me when I've actually seen the whole thing. Movement. Tap a hero. So we've got to figure out some way to get, and we've got to be able to get information from the game board to this, because this is, an auxiliary to the game board. So we tap to select a hero, hold and drag the hero move icon. Tap for guide on how to move. Tap to select a hero. I wonder if you could do Dragon Strike with an app. Has anybody created a Dragon Strike app to try to run you through Dragon Strike? Might be a little bit more complicated because the Dragon Strike rules are a bit more free form. But if you just removed the free form element, which some people wouldn't like that, but if you remove the free form element, at least you'd be able to play with an app. Potentially. Okay, so we're going to tap and drag in order to be able to remove our heroes. Attacking. So, move hero, roll dice to attack. Roll monsters defend dice as shown. Tap to view monster card. Tap to add damage. Tap skull icon to remove monster. So you've got to tell it whether or not, what has happened here during the fight, because that's going to happen with the dice on your table. So to move the hero, then roll the dice to attack. Okay. Roll the monster's defend dice. We're going to have to do that at the table, but then tap to view the monster's card. Add damage to the monster on the card, or tap that in order to kill the monster and remove the monster. Okay. Casting spells. So, tap to cast a spell. You may perform one action, only one of actions. You may perform only one of actions 1 through 6 on a turn. So, cast a spell. So, what do we do? We went to casting a spell. Tap to cast a spell if you're on the wizard. Okay. Then it took us to this. Say cast spell. Select a spell type. Select a spell under that type. This color indicates no app input needed. Follow the instructions on the spell card. This color. Okay, this color indicates that. Tap a monster's icon to target. Tap to cancel the casting of this spell. Okay, I guess if the wizard actually damages something, then you've got to go back to that monster card and figure out actually make the adjustments yourself. Searching. Tap to open the actions menu. Search for treasure. Search for traps. Search for secret doors. Tap if you draw a wandering monster card. Okay. Activating Zargon. So tap to activate Zargon. Oh, just okay. Tap to activate. That's all the rules we've got there. So okay, exit. We had a player though who was a specialist. Like when we were playing Mansions of Madness, we had one player specifically run the Mansions of Madness app. So I suppose you could also do it this way as well. You could have one player who is playing Zargon actually run the app here. Well-rounded. Hi, well-rounded. He says, hi, all. New to the Geekverse and Gaming. Great vids. Thank you. I just wanted your opinion on mythic tier quests and characters. I'm pretty disappointed that the latecomers can't purchase early investor add-ons. Well, I don't know anything about those because I didn't back any of the HeroQuest stuff for the new set. Because I still have my set that was in great condition that I first got on Christmas morning when the game was released. So I still have the original set that we painted up, and then I also created a 3D jumbo-sized HeroQuest board. And so I was really excited to, and I also actually bought a second copy of the game years later on eBay to have as spare parts that was also in really great condition. So I've got 2 original HeroQuests in great condition. So I didn't feel the need. So when HeroQuest came out, I was kind of hoping that it was going to be more than just a re-release of the game. Now, since then, I've changed my mind. But I was like, okay, so what do I buy here? It's time. HeroQuest is coming back. And so I was going all over the pledge stuff, but it was just like, I was like, well, I don't need any of this because I've already got the game. And so I didn't pledge at all for the for the new HeroQuest stuff. Now, since then, I did buy, I've got the Frozen Horror sitting over there because I didn't have the Frozen Horror when it had originally come out. So I bought the Frozen Horror set. So I was very glad they re-released that. And in retrospect, I am glad they re-released HeroQuest as it is because it was such a great game and is still such a great game. And so even though it doesn't expand the game or make it an advanced edition or try to, more modernize it or something like that, for those of us who had played before, it seems like it is bringing a whole bunch of people new into the hobby and who get to experience that like I did. And so we're bringing new people in. So I'm actually happy about that it is a re-release. Maybe in the future they'll do some, some additional expansions or an advanced version or something like that for people who didn't. So I didn't jump in on any of it. So that does probably mean there are some things that, I never got and can't have, like you're talking about. I think it would be nice, maybe if there were some things that, like, the Knight Commander, wasn't he real rare? Like, I didn't really even pick up on that was a thing when I was looking at the Hasbro Pulse page to pledge originally. So, maybe there were a few things that came out that I didn't get in the Mythic tier or, the Knight Commander or somebody else. That's the disadvantage of kind of it wasn't Kickstarter, it was crowdfunding exclusive stuff. I suppose eventually I will be, if I run through all of this again, I will be sad that I wasn't able to get it. Jamie Stegmaier is very much against, he built his board gaming business through crowdfunding, and he's against the Kickstarter or crowdfunding exclusives for that reason. He's like, give people a discount on something or give something to someone free, but still make it available when other people are coming in later. It was a very successful crowdfunding campaign, this HeroQuest game, but it wasn't the be all end all. I mean, it wasn't one of the biggest ever. It was very, very large, but it wasn't one of the biggest ever. Perhaps, if people are coming in later, they would want to be able to get some of those things. So I hate that those things are going to be so expensive on eBay. Hopefully there is some kind of way they can change their mind. I thought that I heard the Knight Commander was like under contract. It was supposed to be some kind of just exclusive to retailers or something like that, and they can't bring it back. So unfortunately, I suppose things will only be extremely expensive. Some things will only be extremely expensive on eBay, and I hate that. I hate that. But glad to have you well-rounded. Hope that kind of answered your question. Because I didn't get any of it. Let's see here. So that was the tutorial. Let's go exit to title. Well, let's just see what happens when we press start then. So create your party. Barbarian. Three different barbarian designs. That one kind of looks like the one that Rachel was playing. Barbarian, rogue, druid, knight. That must be the Knight Commander we were just talking about. Oh, bard. See, who's this orc bard here? Tell you what, let's not do orc bard. Let's get dwarf. Let's get elf. It's a very different looking elf than the original. I also prefer the original art and stuff from the original HeroQuest. That was another reason I didn't back the HeroQuest, because I probably would have backed it anyway. Like, even after looking at it and going, gee, this is the stuff that I already have for the by and large, or for the vast majority. I might have even backed it anyway if I had liked the miniatures and style of art. And not that this is bad, but the I much preferred the classic art, and I didn't particularly like the miniature sculpts. I much prefer the classic miniature sculpts. So I was like, I'm not just going to buy it again in order to get some miniatures that I don't think are quite as good, because all of mine are painted, and I really like the classic sculpts. Other people will disagree, and that's perfectly fine. That's just an aesthetic thing. Test party. HeroQuest game system. Select a quest book. Kellar's Keep, Return of the Witch Lord, The Frozen Horror. And I was very glad to see The Frozen Horror was put into this. I think originally it was not here, but they said, somebody was telling me in the comment section that yes, The Frozen Horror is going to be added to the app. So that is great. It's here because this one is the one that has single player barbarian. So if I play Dinner and a Board Game single player with HeroQuest, I'm going to play the first 3 Frozen Horror quests as the barbarian. I still would like to be able to return to playing the second Witch Lord game in the original set, and then do some Return of the Witch Lord. We will see, though. We should have to be able to. Oh, this says download. This book requires additional files. Well, let me go ahead and download it so that it will be here and ready. This seems fun. Has any? Like I asked before, has anybody used this app? Does it actually provide a great play experience? Can't go while it's downloading. Makes me want to go prime. I'll probably put out a call if we're going to paint this evening. I asked before, as when this was starting out, does anybody want to paint or potentially be on a conversational stream this evening? I wasn't able to assemble a whole crew to paint this evening, but I want to paint some miniatures, including painting up the Frozen Horror, because I don't really want to play a Dinner and a Board Game with unpainted Frozen Horror miniatures. And then Hasbro Pulse exclusive quests. Behold HeroQuest Heroes, even more excitement, more adventures, more stories. Continue the HeroQuest journey with online quests specifically designed for you, our awesome Pulse community. I think that there were some like adjustments. People were sending me some like new. In fact, let me download that one. Probably take a look at that one. New intro quests, because I really don't want to pull up the. I don't think it shouldn't show us anything that's spoilery, right? That's the whole purpose here, right? But I think they made like a new intro quest and things like that and put them out just online. Oh, okay. We got new information here. Mike Hansford says, morning. FYI, the commander of the Guardian Knight will be available in a future expansion, The Rise of the Bad Moon. Okay, I didn't know that was coming out. So thank you very much for that information. So Rise of the Bad Moon, that'll be an expansion that nobody's ever had, because I don't know the name of that one. I don't ever remember that name. There's the Elf Quest pack, which I never had either. And then the Wizards of Morcar, but now we're getting something completely new, The Rise of the Bad Moon. I figured they had to come up with some type of solution for that, because people wanted that and didn't get it. It seems like that was the best solution. So let's say, what is the Hasbro Pulse New Beginnings? I think this is the one that was... The first HeroQuest back. Now, I think there's supposed to be sound here, but I don't think we're having sound coming through here. Mike says, app is okay, not as good as a live Zargon. Probably not. New Beginnings. So I think there's supposed to be sound here. But I think because the technology set up here, it's not coming through. So, heed my words well, for I am Mentor. I have much knowledge to impart upon you, but no time to do so. As we speak, a contingent of minions loyal to the evil sorcerer Zargon escapes our grasp. If this wicked group of villains should succeed in retreating back to Zargon's dread host, there will be dire consequences. The people of this land tell tales of your good deeds. Help the realm with this dire undertaking, and you shall take the first step on the road to becoming true heroes. We have tracked these sinister forces to a nearby location. I can provide you guidance using this far voice spell, but cannot intervene on your behalf, lest Zargon discover your vital mission and seek to block your path. The quest is calling. Place the revealed pieces on your table's game board. Okay. All right, cool. You get the Fog of War. Place the revealed pieces on your table's game board. That's where the heroes are going to start. Quest 0. Defeat Zargon's forces. You must seek out and destroy Zargon's sinister forces before they retreat. The door is locked. The heavy wooden door bars the exit. Without a keyhole or handle, there is no obvious way of opening it. Perhaps there is another way. So how would I do this? So if I'm playing the barbarian, okay, and this is the female barbarian. So I just grab her and move. So your movement is governed by the roll of 2d6. So it's just counting on you to roll the d6 and then move. What if I mess that up? Because obviously that's an inefficient way to get over there. How do I reset her? That is not what I'm trying to do. Move, help. Roll your movement dice. Drag. You do not need to move the entire amount rolled. Yep, Zargon must know your hero's exact movement path. Oh, Zargon must know your hero's exact movement path in order to trigger traps and properly determine your hero's line of sight. So it's not going to let you... that's why it's not going to let you go back. Got it. Always remember to update your hero's miniature position on your table's game board. Be sure to place all revealed furniture and monster miniatures. Your table's game board should match what has been revealed with Zargon within the app. Okay, so that's an important thing right here. I'm glad that I'm, learning and doing this test. Is that okay? There's probably no way to go back because it's not. See, I think I would design this differently. That would say, here's the route that I want to move. Confirm. But if I had stepped on a trap or something like that, that's why it's not going to let me go back. Okay, well, let's go to actions. I want to search for. Ordinarily, I'd search for traps first. But let's just go ahead and search for treasure. Door unlocked. After moving a loose stone in the fireplace, you discover a hidden lever. You may now open the door. Okay. So then I go on to the next person. So like this is the... Sure, open the door. Place the revealed dungeon pieces on your tables. Okay, well, I don't want to go too far. Oh, okay, so then, yep, so you see those because the walls are continuing. I don't want to go too much further to get into any kind of spoiler stuff, but I think I see how this is going, and I think I can use this, and I think this would be great for playing some solo games for dinner and a board game. Can I get everything ready to do that by Friday? We will see. Let me take that down. I think it's pretty cool. Mike is probably right. It's live Zargon is better. But if I'm sitting here and we're playing live, the interactivity will be coming from the chat. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Let's see. We got a little bit of time left here. And so I wanted to take a look at some material that was submitted from the community here, because we've got people who are working on stuff. And we can do a quick overview. If we go a little bit longer today by 5 or 10 minutes, that's fine. It's Sunday, so sometimes I'm a little bit flexible on that on the weekends, even though there is work to be done. But let me bring this up. Stop screen sharing, present. This is what Inner Light has been working on, and I've been meaning to take a look at it for a while. I just completely forgot last Sunday, even though this is kind of our potpourri day. Add to screen. So this is the RPG that Inner Light's been working on. And kind of my idea here has been, as we're forming a community here and in Discord, hey, if you're here, let me put out the Discord link. Because if you are here and would like to be part of the Discord server, we would love to have you. I'm trying to develop a constructive place for everybody here in the Geekverse. So let me get a new link and put the Discord link in the in the chat there. So if you'd like to be part of the Discord, please come. Oh yeah, and Paulie says, smash the like. Yes, please do hit the like. I always forget to say things like that. So yes, if you're here, please do like the stream. That would be great. And if you haven't been subscribed, if you haven't subscribed yet either, please subscribe and hit the like button so other people will know to come by this stream. And if you'd like to be part of the Discord server community, please come by there as well, because we've got places for RPG development and game development and things like that that are going on with the community. And so we can do things like take a look at each other's work and what's going on. So this is what Inner Light's been working on, and there have been posts about this on the Discord server. So let's just take a brief overview here in 10 or 15 minutes and see how to play and see what's being created here. So imagine a world of ancient times, witness to an age crawling out of the chaos of a war that almost destroyed the continents, the ruins of the Sorcerer Kings. And by the way, I was told that I could put this online, to have this kind of discussion on live. So I'm not revealing anything. I was sent this specifically to put this online. Imagine a world of ancient times, witness to an age crawling out of the chaos of a war that almost destroyed the continents. The ruins of the Sorcerer Kings lay wasted by their conflict with the demon horde, yet their progeny still lives, a source of pain and conflict in a broken world. Imagine that you are one of the few brave individuals to pick up a sword or embrace the dangers of sorcery to combat this darkening world. Imagine swashbuckling adventures, devastating spells, thrilling combat, and victories of wealth and excitement in this savage world of fallen sorcery. Imagine the tales that will be told of your adventures in the world of Formidia. Formidia or Formidia. Definitions and disclaimers. Swords and sorcery is a genre that combines swashbuckling adventure with supernatural elements, usually of a horrific nature, in a pre-industrial setting. Okay. Oh yeah, Inner Light had long lists of different films that were studied for this, right? So amazing feats of strength, agility, and willpower, like those played out in some of the great fantasy films of the 1980s and 90s. So let's look at the character sheet first. And this is great that the character sheet comes first, because Trey was saying one of the great ways to look at an RPG is to put an RPG first, or put the character sheet, or look at the character sheet first, so we at least know what's going on. The character sheet. Many players of tabletop fantasy role-playing and board games look at their character sheet, the way a character and what powers, abilities, I think there's a word missing, and what powers, abilities, or equipment they have available to them are recorded to see what makes them unique from other games. A character sheet for savages and sorcery is included in the following pages with a description of each element of the character sheet. Every element of the game is made with the intention of calling back to the high adventures of sword and sorcery and allowing the group to play savages and sorceries to tell their own stories that could be experienced in those worlds. So we've got 4 different main statistics: body, mind, agility, and fate. The 4 basic characteristics that define any character in Savages and Sorcery are body, mind, agility, and fate. Each characteristic is both a designation of ability and a pool that can potentially be damaged. Body, so both a designation of ability and something that can be damaged. Body is a measure of physical strength, constitution, and endurance. Mind determines how much a character knows or can intuit, and the mind characteristic is used for many skills. Fate represents how strongly a character's soul is tied to Formidia, and it can affect virtually anything, but is also used primarily for the sorcery and resisting the effects of it. Like the other 3, fate is a limited resource. So body, mind, agility, and fate. Heroes may learn skills through their careers, but even if they do not, most have a basic understanding of a few of them, so they can be used without formal training. There are 14 skills in the game that can be used for most of the game's non-combat activities. Talents define a hero's special knowledges and abilities. Most combat expertise comes from talents, as does sorcery. Talents are either learned or inherited. Each hero is limited to a maximum of 10 talents. A character's weapon and armor, weapon attack, armor, defense. How much dice are rolled for attack and defense rolls. In Savages and Sorcery, combat is dangerous but exciting. Every swing, dodge, and parry has the potential of triggering a crisis of combat. And then a place to put notes here. Many weapons, talents, or even spells provide special attacks. Attacks and abilities triggered by rolling a crown skull. So Inner Light was also saying that there were special engraved dice that were produced for this, or special custom dice, and there were some that just had come in for playtesting. Although Innerlight was also talking about the advantages of just using a standard D12 in the RPG development section of the Discord server. So I know this may be something that's changing here. But rolling a crown skull, this is on an attack die. When a crown skull is rolled, stop the action for a second to regard the effects, as only one crown skull result can trigger per hero or character in a 10-second round of combat. A crown skull result can be defended against, but requires 2 shields of the appropriate type to block. And I believe this character sheet is supposed to be on a tarot-sized game card. So we've got... Formidia is a dark and sometimes terrifying world. There are many terrible things, from giant spiders to the undead to living demons to the occasional glimpse of human sacrifice that are harrowing to the civilized mind. Insanity reduces a hero's maximum mind points until it is removed. So this is insanity right here, okay? Some heroes may resort to dark and terrifying deeds, either a result of insanity or through some kind of demonic gesh or enticement. Corruption stains the soul almost irrevocably. Those with high corruption may be mutated if exposed to dark sorcery. So we've got a place for corruption as well. Carrying a light load has no effect on agility or movement. Carrying a medium load reduces movement by 1 space. Heavy load reduces agility by 1 when carried. Carrying a maximum load reduces agility to 0 and also exhausted. We've got a place for gold. Baubles, gems, and jewelry found in one's adventure can sometimes be traded with uncivilized humanoids. And then renown, a measure of social standing and fame. Renown also acts as a token resource that can be used to gain social advantages or avoid story complications. Heroes earn renown for completing quests and adventures unless they are secretive in nature. And a place for notes. Well, Innerlight, so far, good job. I'm sure this was created before we were talking about how one of the first things that we like to look at an RPG is a character sheet. But the fact that this leads off with it, and we're not only looking at a character sheet and we don't understand what all these things are. I like this as far as our organization goes, leading off with the character sheet and giving us some idea of what we're going to be looking at. Because characters, if you're sitting there playing, hey, let's play a game. Here's your character sheet. Okay, what does all this stuff mean? That's one of the first things people want to know. Okay, now we do go into character creation, but I'm going to skip by character creation because many times I like having pre-generated characters there anyway. So let's take a look at actions in combat. Most actions in Savages and Sorceries are resolved by using dice pools of a custom 12-sided die. The game is designed to limit dice pools to 6 or less. The fortune die is designed to give exciting but mostly predictable results, and skills and combat both seem to be made more friendly towards the telling of stories and tales as a result. The more skilled at something a hero is, the more dice are rolled when determining the result of an action. This increases the power of the action, as well as the possibility of something going extremely right, such as a critical success, and the possibility of something going extremely wrong, such as often the case in Tales of Sword and Sorcery. So in Savages and Sorceries, a hero could have a victory with minor results stacked with a failure with major complications. The hero succeeds with a minor positive effect, but something negative still happens. Okay, we've got an example of play here. Are there 12 of these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Maybe these are the 12 symbols on the custom die, which may be leaving. We'll see here. Let's see. I bet we're about to be explained what this is. Untrained skill, trained skill, combat result, fate save. Well, hey, we got Ode to HeroQuest here. Savages and Sorcery is in many ways a loving remembrance of the classic board game HeroQuest, which has recently been re-released. Here are the traditional barbarian, dwarf, elf, and wizard characters drawn up in Savages and Sorcery style. Well, it was good to look at the HeroQuest app while we look at this as well. Body, mind, agility, fate. The barbarian has a bonus to athletics and endurance due to the high current body points. If body points drop below 5, the bonus is removed. The dwarf, the elf, the wizard. Innerlight's been doing all kinds of cool stuff with graphic design as well. So we've got weapons here, I guess cost, and then the I need an example of combat here. To prevent players from having to keep track of every little thing they have on them, Savage and Sorcerer uses kits. Kits have 10 uses of smaller equipment needed to perform a skill test or some other test. Oh, the Fate Master is the player who's running the game. Oh, so I'm not exactly sure what to do with the dice pool yet, but this is pretty cool. I think that Sundays, like I was thinking, that Sundays is my potpourri day. So we can talk more about this in the Discord server under the development and things like that. But I think that Sunday is a good day to talk about a variety of the minor topics that, yeah, ordinarily, if you are new here, we do one topic per day. We typically dive into one type of topic. This typically been in RPGs lately, but also board gaming per day. But I kind of think that Sunday is a good potpourri day where we can take a look at a variety of smaller topics and also take a look at different things that people have potentially created in the community to get feedback on and things like that. Stray says, I'd make a character named Captain John Lackluster. I would aspire to his own ship and crew willing to sail the abyss for coin. It sounds very Savages and Sorcery, and also like all of the movies that Inner Light was talking about being an inspiration for this. So, all right. Well, that I guess that does actually put us right at about an hour. So I think that was a really good conversation. I'm glad it got me looking at the HeroQuest app because I need to look at that. Now I got to paint miniatures. I got to figure out if we're painting miniatures tonight, and if so, how to coordinate that. One of the things that we do at the end of the show, if you are new here, because not only do we talk about things in science, fantasy, science fiction, the Geekverse in general, we also want to be able to improve our life. Oh, and Mike says, oh, that sparked a promotion idea in HQ, HeroQuest. So as not to make characters overpower, they add dice to their roll, but choose X dice to determine hits and blocks. Like in the captain's name. We do try to plan the rest of our day here at the end here. So not only are we talking about stuff in the Geekverse, but we're also trying to improve ourselves and make sure that we are having good days. And then we check in at the wind down. And I've been running the wind down every night, but I was talking about at the beginning of the stream, I may be changing up what nights the wind down occurs on because there may be other live streams we want to be doing on different nights as well. So we're trying to do extreme geek productivity here, extreme geek productivity. And if you need a productivity method, then you can use the index card method that we are using here. Oh, I'm going to have to pull up the auxiliary camera here. I took it down for the iPad app. But Extreme Geek Productivity, if you want to get in on planning your day with everybody, trying to have a better day, getting things done, because at the end of the day, we want to be able to say we've had a great day, you can use this index card productivity method to assign your big rocks. And then I'll be looking at my big rocks here at the end right after this explanation.
Well, I manage my department, and I've been doing that for several years now.
Your department's just you, right?
Yes, Jim, but I am not easy to manage.
If you would like to join in on being more productive with me and everyone else here on the stream, but are in need of a system to help you out, here's an easy system that you can adopt and that I recommend. Grab a sheet of paper. I find that an index card folded in half is the perfect size for this. But if you don't have an index card, no problem. Any scratch piece of paper will work just fine. Just grab it and a pen or pencil. Think for a moment and come up with the 3 things that if you were to accomplish them today, you would know and feel that it was a great day. I bet you can take a breath right now and think for just a moment, and you will know what those 3 things are. We're going to call these 3 items our big rocks. Our objective is to move these big rocks during the day. Now, don't make the rocks too big because then you can't move them. Rocks that are too big to move in about a third of a day, we call those huge rocks. Moving the huge rocks is our major multi-day goals in life. But in order to move them, we have to break up the huge rocks into big rocks that we can actually pick up and move around. But we don't want these rocks to be too small, because although small rocks are easy to move, we don't feel sufficient accomplishment when we move them. Moving the big rocks makes us feel accomplished because they advance us toward our objectives in significant ways. You decide what size tasks are small, big, and huge rocks for you. If you get all 3 of these tasks done, then go ahead and add a 4th or a 5th big rock. But Don't do that unless you've finished your big 3. You want to look at your list at the end of the day and feel success and accomplishment. You can use your phone for this if you want to, but I think a sheet of paper is better because then you don't have to pick up your phone to check your list of big rocks and potentially get sucked into all the distraction on your phone. The phone will also let you put 20 or 30 things on the list, no problem. Half an index card will keep this tight and focused. I know there are dozens of things on my to-do list on my computer, and that's too much. This method allows me to extract what I really need to do during the day and focus on that. If you're already using a productivity method that you like, no problem, use that. Do what works for you. Now let's write down our big rocks and try to get them done between now and the wind down live stream in the evening. That's where we check in, see how we did, celebrate success, and see how we can improve tomorrow. If you need encouragement during the day, look to the Ravenkeep Discord server. It's a great and constructive community. Let's take over the Geekverse. All right, so have you been thinking about what your big rocks are? I was just sitting here trying to think about mine while that was going and what I'm trying to get done. I have a problem that I haven't finished my big rocks on every day. So I've got all these parts of index cards that have only partially completed big rocks and moved big rocks. And so I was trying to look at that and say, well, what are the 3 that I really need to try to get rid of today? I've got to update these morning messages. I need to be ready tomorrow to be able to play the new morning messages with our sponsor. So that will be great. I've got to do that. So that's the first thing I got to do as soon as I get off of this live stream. If we're going to be painting tonight, I need to plan that, figure out how that's going to go, and I'll put that out on the Discord server. I'm thinking that if we're painting and doing a painting live stream, that something needs to go about 5 o'clock on Sunday afternoons. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, but I'm going to need to plan that. Would need to prime my miniatures as well. So I'd put out a call on Instagram and also in the Discord. Hey, remember to prime your miniatures. Take your miniatures outside and prime them if you want to be painting them tonight. So that's got to be done. Of course, I have got to start thinking about Christmas as well. I may also be going on a field trip, which would be next week. I have got to, that's probably what I need to do. I need to look seriously at planning the field trip, which does relate to the Geekverse. So I might also not be able to run a morning show sometime this weekend. Of course, Christmas is coming up, but I don't think that I don't think my family's Christmas plans are going to influence the live streams, but I may be going on a trip that has to do with the Geekverse that I really want to share with everybody. But if that's going to happen, I need to plan that. I need to spend some time planning that, figuring out, signing up, making sure that it's still available and things like that. If that's going to happen, that really needs to be planned today. So, all right, I guess those are my 3 big rocks. Hopefully I'll be able to get some more done. But, of course, then painting some miniatures for HeroQuest would also be great. I hope you are also productive today. I hope it is a wonderful day. I hope that you've enjoyed this conversation in the Geekverse and going on to doing great things. And if we're able to get things together, we'll do some painting tonight. If not, painting, video gaming, and other shows are going to be coming out. Just follow the channel and also the Discord server. We're still kind of in experimental phase here. I call this the beta phase. First 30 days was the alpha. We were trying out a bunch of different things about how to work, about how this live streaming was going to work. Now we are in the beta phase, so still testing things out. Hope you have a wonderful day. It was so great to see you. Have fun, be productive, drink water, play HeroQuest if you got it. See you later.